Hey guys, I hope the volume's okay for you. I don't have my microphone, so I apologize if it's too low. But today we're going to learn how to add a little bit of makeup so you can turn something like this into a face with a little bit of makeup on it. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is frequency separation. And you already know how to do that, so I'm going to pause the video while I do it real quick. So, you make 2 copies, and then I'll start on the blur, and when I come back, it'll be done. Okay, so now you can see there's the before, and there's the after. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and merge these two together because I'm happy with the after, so I'm going to go to Layer and Merge Layers. And now that's my final image. So I'm going to make a copy of that so that we can get started on the next part. Alright, the next part, what we're going to do is just kind of add some shading to her skin and some highlights to her skin. So you're going to add a blank layer, and on this blank layer we're going to fill it with white. So we're going to pick our paint bucket. I'm going to choose my default color squares and then switch them so that white's on top, and then I'm just going to fill that in. Okay, and then I actually want to make it kind of a gray color, but it has to be the right gray color, so I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation. And the lightness, I want to change to -30. And I'll hit OK. There's the bit. Okay, got -30. I'm going to change this layer to be an overlay. Oh, actually, it was supposed to be -50. That's why it's not turning out right. Alt Control Z. Let me change that real quick. Okay, sorry. Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation, -50. I apologize. Then I'm going to change it to overlay. Okay, now it looks the same. Now with the overlay, I'm going to go to the layer that's the gray layer, and I'm going to choose the burn tool, which is underneath the dodge tool. It's right here. I'm going to change the exposure to 40%. Darian, will you stand outside and just tell people to hold on for 1 second? Thank you. I'm going to change the range to midtones, and I want a fairly big brush, maybe about like this, 164, and I want it to be a soft brush. So now on layer 6 with the burn tool, I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of shading. I am not super good at this, so you girls, oh that was bad, but you girls that know how to do this, you'll do a much better job. I do know that you're supposed to do it under the cheekbones to add cheeks, and then I'm going to make my brush smaller. And you're supposed to do it on either side of the nose somehow. I've not figured that out yet, but it's something along these lines. Okay, now that I've got the shading, and don't worry because it's going to get better. Now that I've got the shading, I want to change this to the dodge tool, and I'm going to change the exposure to 30%. And again, I want the range to be the midtones, and I want a rather large brush. And the dodge tool is going to add that highlight that girls pay for. Wow, I'm doing a really terrible job. I know that there's some girls in the class that are going to do a great job at this. So you're supposed to highlight, I think, in a triangle. There's a lot of tutorials online that will show you, you're supposed to do the chin right here, that will show you, based on face shape, exactly where you're supposed to highlight and where you're supposed to shade. Okay, and I think, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that little white dot there, but hopefully that'll come off in a second. Yikes. Alright, so if I take the eyeball off, I can see that this is what my layer looks like. What I want to actually do is blur this layer. So I'm going to go to layer 6, I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and then we can start at 0. And I'm just going to gradually increase the blur until it looks a little better. Mine might take a while. Let's see. I'm going to keep it right around here because I'm going to decrease the opacity. So I'm going to hit OK, and then mine still doesn't look great, so I'm going to change the opacity down a bit. But if I take the eyeball off of layer 6, you should see the before and after. Okay, if you do a good job, it'll look much better than mine, but there you go. That's how you can add shading. Okay, the next tutorial we will add some eyeshadow, and then the next one we'll do lip color.